me, if you would, to 1 Corinthians chapter 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. I'm just going to share something with you. It's a pretty simple notion, and it's just a matter basically it's just a reminder of what we need to be as God's people. While you're turning there, I just want to give you a little quick history of the church just for a second. 5 years ago, on a Sunday evening, September the 4th, 2017, we burned the church mortgage. The first time in the history of the church that the church had been debt-free. And it was an opportunity for us to recognize and to realize just how much God had blessed us and how much He had given to us. And, you know, it is easy when we look back over the years, it's easy to see that we're to be faithful stewards of physical things. I mean, when we think about the money, we think about, you know, what monies God has given us and to be faithful with that money. You know, I think about, for example, and this is going to tell you just how long I've been here, because some of these things, you know, from owning a home and such forth, how often these things have to be done. But in the time that I've been here, we've put 2 roofs on the building. We've put carpet down at least twice, maybe 3 times. I can't remember for sure. We have replaced every furnace and air conditioner at least once, some of them 2 and some 3 times. And it's kind of an amazing thing when you look back over the years at all of the things that have been done. We've remodeled bathrooms. We've remodeled them a couple different times. I remember the sound system is the sound booth is one of the funny ones. When I came, it was in, if you've ever looked, there's a door behind the sound booth. We'll make those guys the center of attention for just a second. And it goes into what is now just a little set of steps that we can come up into the sound booth from the outside, from the other hallway. It used to just be a closet, no steps, no anything. That was a sound room. It was a closet with a bunch of bars over the front of it. We moved that at one point out into the auditorium. At another point, we moved it into where the ladies' restrooms are now. And then from there, we moved it out to where it is now. And so there's been a lot of changes, is what I'm saying. Over these years, we have had to be frugal with the money. We have had to be able to accomplish things that needed to be accomplished. We have tried to do the upgrades that we feel like God would have us to do. We have tried very hard. We're still in the process of doing that. It's something that just absolutely never ends, because it's, you know, things wear out and things get old and things need to be upgraded and so forth and so on. So when we're talking about being faithful stewards, it is easy to just say, okay, be faithful in financial matters. Be faithful with the money that God has given us. Be faithful with all those things. And we get that, and I think that we have tried very hard to do so, and we continue to do that. Talk this morning about being faithful with our monies in regard to supporting missions and that kind of thing. So we understand that, and on the surface we get that. But when we're looking at this text in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 through 5, it takes us way beyond just being faithful with the physical things. It takes us beyond just being faithful to things that we can see and the things that are tangible, the things we can put our hands on. And it has more to do with being faithful with the spiritual things that God has left us. To be faithful, to believe in those things, to teach those things, to pass them along to our children, to make sure that the congregation is discipled and know these things. It is important that we understand our obligation to hold to those things and to not let them slide, to not let them slip away. All of the spiritual things that God has entrusted to our care. And by the way, those things are things that during the Old Testament and much of even the New, the early church, was very mysterious, things that were difficult for them to fathom, things they couldn't comprehend at that point. And so God opens that up to the church today for us to understand them, to realize them, and then to hold true to those things. Now, I mention this so often, but we have watched in our society today, we have watched a lot of these things slip away. Watching churches that don't deem all these things of God so important any longer. And in order to draw big crowds, or in order to be accepted by the world, or in order for, to be cool or to be popular, or whatever the case may be, sometimes just to get rich or to have